Hello and welcome to the Better in Business podcast. In today's episode, we are going to dive into the entrepreneur's journey. The reason that I have recorded this episode is my observations of the roller coaster of ups and downs that entrepreneurs go through and the way that it impacts their ability to have success and also the way that it impacts their lives. Okay. And my hope for you from listening to this episode is that you'll have a greater understanding of how to lean in to the entrepreneur's journey that you have chosen, why I think you made the right choice. Just how to do better in business through the content that I share. For more information on this episode or how to work with me, check out the show notes or visit betterinbusiness.global. You've tuned into Better in Business with Jeannie. As an award-winning strategic bookkeeper and business veteran, I am dedicated to helping entrepreneurs learn, grow, and prosper. This podcast aims to challenge your thinking. If you're not thinking the right way, how can you act the right way? Each episode will dive into key drivers of success, which I also call the rules of the game. Learn the rules, play to win. Let's go. I like to start every episode by reminding you that it is globally recognized that pillar one for the success of any business is up-to-date, accurate bookkeeping. If your books are not right up to date, tune into episode 1, please. You can also get in touch with me if you'd like some help. Hello, my friends. Okay, let's jump in. So the first thing I want to let you know is that I am recording this podcast episode for both of my podcast platforms. So I have one for bookkeepers and one for entrepreneurs. This is the first time I've ever recorded one podcast to go across both platforms. In this case, the subject matter is ideal for both platforms. So normally I will micro niche into one of the others. So if I'm talking to bookkeepers, it's going to be referenced to bookkeepers and really micro niched in there. If I'm talking to entrepreneurs, business owners, generally it's going to be more general content, which is specific to the market that I'm looking to serve. And on that platform, it tends to be small business owners. So I always think of like mum and dad family businesses. Oftentimes I work with dads because mums still tend to be in traditional roles, right? So with all that rambling, basically, let's dive in to talk about the entrepreneur's journey, as I believe it can really help you to really do better in business, to do better in your practice if you're a bookkeeper. Because I love to say that there are 3 real big moving parts to success in business, and they are mechanics, mindset, and productivity. My goodness, they are so 3 massive keys, right? Mechanics being just the stuff you've got to do, yeah, all the things that you've got to do to run your business, yeah, rules of the game. Mindset, oh my goodness, that even if you've given all the mechanics, unless you can master your mindset, everything can tend to fall apart. And honestly, I can give 2 people the same mechanics, the same great toolkit, and one will have success and one won't. And it's mindset, productivity that makes the difference. And in terms of productivity, it's really important as an entrepreneur to, I love to say, time Smith. So people often say to me, Jeannie, oh my goodness, how the hell do you get so much done? And I've been asked that so much lately that I kind of reflected myself. And it's back to mechanics, mindset, and productivity. With mechanics, I'm really big on the 5% that does 95%, right? I don't do all the things, yeah? Mindset, I do really well around mindset. And when it comes to productivity, well, back to that, I do the 5% activities. I'm very, very efficient. Yeah. I live by a lot of productivity rules, including atomic habits, including the science of When. So they're both books that you can grab. Please do grab them. The Science of When is great on the Blinkist app, whereas Atomic Habits, you must read it and then read it again and then use it as a handbook for life. So they're just two of the things that I use. But again, I'm really good at not doing things when it comes to productivity. So I say no to a lot, and I do not do activities that only give me a 5% result. I'd rather not do something. I want to do the 5% activities that give me 95% of the results. Okay. So back to the entrepreneur's journey. In terms of the entrepreneur's journey, the reason I've chosen to create this podcast is because the entrepreneur's journey is a roller coaster. Yeah, it's a roller coaster. And what I've observed in The Strategic Bookkeeper, which is one of my podcasts, one of my businesses, I'm very close to my tribe members who are all over the world, and I'm very close to them in a Facebook group. So we're interacting every day in there, okay? And we very much do open hearts and open minds. And so they share freely how they're feeling. Yeah. And I noticed the roller coaster. I noticed the highs and the lows. Yeah. I noticed that all of them, with no exception, go through these highs of, I'm getting wins, I'm feeling great. And then the lows that come with just, something's gone wrong. Maybe there's they might call it an emergency. I certainly hope to help bookkeepers understand and work through the fact that there should never be bookkeeping emergencies and we should eliminate emergencies generally with good risk management. But I see them go through these highs and lows, regardless of who they are, regardless of whether they're one of my really high achievers or they're a bookkeeper who's, a little more slow and steady. They all tend to go through these highs and lows. So I was listening and observing, and I am a data girl. So I love data. I love the science and art of things. Yeah. And so as I looked and observed and listened, I thought to myself, I think part of what's happening here is that all of us start out in life, and the bulk of our life often is that we are working in a job, right? Most of us that traditionally grew up, things have really changed now. I don't know what the future holds for my 13-year-old. I don't know if traditional jobs will be around, right? But we grew up, we got a job, we worked in a job for a very long time, most of us for, maybe a couple of decades or at least a decade before we ever became an entrepreneur. And even that word entrepreneur, a lot of people will say, I'm not an entrepreneur, I'm a business owner. You're an entrepreneur, yeah? If I say an apple is an orange, it doesn't make it an orange, yeah? It's still an apple. If you are in business for yourself, yeah, and you are trying to build your business, yeah, beyond yourself, then you are an entrepreneur. I mean, even if you're a solo operator, unless you are just subcontracting and you have no other activities and expenses outside of that, you're an entrepreneur, okay? So what I noticed is that, yes, we all work in a job for a very, 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 very long time, yeah? So our habits and what we know and our mindset is around a job, yeah? And so in terms of a job, we go to work, we get paid time for money, yeah? So we get paid an hourly rate for the work that we do. We don't get paid for outcomes, we get paid for hours. Sure, outcomes are expected, but we're getting paid for hours. We clock in, we clock out. We're expected to be there at a certain time. We are accountable to someone, whether that's the owner of the business or a manager or whoever. We're accountable to someone. There's someone over and above us. We don't own the business, yeah? And at the end of the day, when we go home, we leave our job behind, yeah? Regardless of the amount of responsibility you have. And let me tell you right now, I have had so much responsibility in jobs before, yeah? But I know as an entrepreneur that there is no comparing what it is like in your own business to what it was like when you had a job. So at the end of the day, you go home, if their business burns down, it's not really you that's impacted, yeah? It's really all the risk sits with the business owner or the shareholders or whoever, yeah? So in that job, you get the same pay every week, yeah? So that is certainty. So there's a lot of structure and certainty is very high. Yes, certainly lots of certainty. The risk is very low, very, very low risk. Yeah, you're getting the same pay all the time, all of these kind of things. You get 4 weeks annual leave if you're in Australia, for example. If you're sick, you have sick pay. There is a HR department that you can go to, etc., etc. Okay, I could go on and on, but you get the idea. Now, my idea here is that this is ingrained in your mind, right? You've been doing this for a long time. This is what you got used to. And then you go on to be an entrepreneur. Now, whether you've been an entrepreneur for 5 minutes, 5 years, or 15 years, yeah, here's what I have noticed. The entrepreneur's journey is, rather than like the job low risk, it's high risk, right? Entrepreneurs carry lots and lots of risk, yeah? It is far less certainty. So the certainty is low. So you've got uncertainty, you've got lots of risk, yeah, and you've got no one above you. You are wholly and solely responsible for everyone. You can't abdicate. All the responsibilities lie with you. You have to be a leader. You have to be a manager. The buck stops with you. Every fail is your fault. Every win is your fault, yeah? And so I would say that being in a job is like kind of being on a train going at a regular speed, along, easy peasy. And being an entrepreneur is like a roller coaster. And when I see my beautiful bookkeepers and business owners alike get down in the dumps and have what I call doona days, which is where you just want to put the doona over your head, and they go through all the ups and downs mentally, yeah, and physically with being an entrepreneur, I honestly think that it's linked to them wanting the things or craving the things that come with a job. And what I think would be really helpful in terms of our mindset is if we stopped for a minute and we kind of said, okay, imagine that the job is kind of like France. Yeah. So the job is like going to France, and France is beautiful. And being an entrepreneur is like Italy, and Italy is gorgeous too. But they're two very different destinations. And there's no point being in Italy and pining for France. You might as well enjoy Italy. That is one way of looking at it. But the other way of looking at it is simply that when you have the roller coaster of the uncertainty and all of these things, rather than getting down about it, or when you do get down about it, to stop, take a breath, and remind yourself, this is the entrepreneur's journey, and it's the journey that I chose. And to remind yourself of why you chose that journey, very, very important, yeah, and how you get a whole lot of things that being in a job wouldn't give you, okay? Because I get that it is a roller coaster, and I get that it is ups and downs, and I get that it requires a lot more effort mentally and physically than a job will ever demand of you, okay? And so I want to share my experience of my own, story of going into business for myself, the entrepreneur's journey. So I absolutely worked for other people, worked for my family, worked for lots of corporations, big and small. And when I was working in a job, I really did enjoy the parts of it because I've been I was an entrepreneur. I then had a job for a while, and then I went back to being an entrepreneur eventually. And actually in the break between my entrepreneurial journey, where I went from entrepreneur to job, then back to entrepreneur, it was funny. I guess because I had experienced everything as an entrepreneur, when I went back to a job, I was listening to everyone around me complain about all these things to do with their job. And all I could think is, this is awesome. Like, I get to come to work and I just do a job. I get the same pay every week. And I really enjoyed the benefits while I had it. Yeah, because I had perspective. That said, I always wanted to go back to being an entrepreneur, because the things I didn't like is I didn't like the boredom of it. Yeah, I found the boredom like water torture. I had to be at work at a certain time. I was getting paid an hourly rate, regardless of me doing, having a much bigger impact on the organization. I mean, generally I was indispensable. Literally, it was like, if anything happens to Jeannie, this place is going to fall apart. Yeah. But it doesn't mean realistically you get a whole lot more money for it. Yeah, not like if you create something in your own business extraordinary, you get the financial rewards as well as the wonderful reward of the impact you're having on those you serve. Okay. So when I was in a job, it was like, okay, I get kind of really bored, and also bored because I don't get to set my own challenges, like big challenges, and solve big problems. And I would hunt out the challenges and the problems and I would solve them for other people, but I didn't get to set and solve the ones myself. Yeah. And then the other thing is that on the whole, regardless of how I really felt about decisions made by management, like if I thought that's ridiculous, I just kind of had to suck it up. I remember once at a job where two people in a department showed me how they completed a task and I burst out laughing and I said, I will not be doing it that way. And they just looked at me stony faced, right? But I just struggled with doing the ridiculous. I struggled with doing the inefficient. I wanted to do it my way. Yeah. So these are the things that we don't get in a job. We don't get to do it our way. We don't get to decide what time we go to work. We don't get to decide what time we finish work. We have to run at somebody else's schedule. Yeah. On the whole, we often don't get to create anything of our own. Yeah, that is a real human need to build and to create. That is such a human thing. Yeah. And as when we choose the entrepreneur's journey, we're choosing all these things. Yeah. Ask most people, why did you go into business for yourself? Well, they were really good technicians. They wanted to be rewarded for their effort. Yeah. They wanted freedom and flexibility to decide when they worked. Yeah. And how and where. They wanted financial rewards. Yeah. And so when we become an entrepreneur, I know that those things aren't there instantly and they are not always there all the time. Yeah. The entrepreneur's journey it can be ups and downs, it can be risk. Yeah. And it can be really hard work. And this idea that, so when we go and choose the entrepreneur's journey, we want this freedom and flexibility. And then for a while there, we might find ourselves working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we think, hang on a sec, I'm working longer hours than I was in a job. So when the ups and downs happen, when you're dealing with all of this, here's what I want you to remember. If, like me, when I was actually launching my passion project this year, the Strategic Bookkeeper, the entire project, my book, my podcast, my program, off the back of 14 years in business in my bookkeeping practice, I worked 12 hours a day. I worked 7 days a week. I missed out on all my favorite Latin dance events. I made sacrifices and none of it got me down. And none of it got me down because, number one, I'm not afraid of hard work. Number two, when friends kind of said, you can't work that hard, I thought, they don't get it. They work in jobs, yeah? I'm not really working. I'm building. I'm creating. I'm investing in something that is going to have an impact on people's lives and have an impact on my life financially and by way of purpose, yeah? So as an entrepreneur, when you have the ups and downs, yeah, and I absolutely have the massive ups as well, but I've actually learned to kind of cool them down as well, because when I have big wins, it's great, but I think the journey is what I love the most. Yeah, the journey. Like I remember when I launched after 15 years of wanting to do this, in the end, the launch, it was great. It was exciting for the team and I, but it's the journey and it will always be the journey. Yeah. So when you have the ups and downs, when you have to work harder, when you've maybe got to work in a job and you've got to go and build your business as well, no matter what you've got to do, no matter what hours you've got to work. Yeah. Because successful entrepreneurs, my friends, do the things that others won't. Make no mistake. Yeah. To be a successful entrepreneur, you need to go the extra mile. You need to be prepared to put in the hard work and the long work to reap the rewards. Yeah. When I worked 7 days, 12 hours a day in the middle of this year with COVID, with the flu, when I kept going, yeah, that's okay. The last couple of weeks, I probably worked a day here and there. Yeah. I'll take off, go on holidays, spend time with my child, do whatever I want. And then I will put in the work when necessary. And I love that. And I'm okay with that. So when you have the ups and downs, I really want you to pause for a minute and think about the journey that you've chosen and be okay with the pros and the cons, yeah? Because if at any point you want to stop this entrepreneur's journey, yeah, and you want to get out of Rome, as I called it, yeah, get out of Italy. If you're in Italy, the entrepreneur's journey, and you've decided, I really, really, really would rather be in France, fly to France, go and get a job. Nothing's stopping you. Yeah. You can jump online, you can get a job, and you can enjoy the benefits of low risk and high certainty and all of that thing if you are prepared to cop all the cons that come with a job. Yeah. The key takeaways I want for you here. Yeah. I really want this to be about helping you to minimize the highs and the lows. Yeah, to really dive into the science and art of what you've chosen here. You've chosen the entrepreneur's journey. Yeah, when it gets hard, dig in, grit your teeth, celebrate, because every win is yours to celebrate. Yeah, and I mean every win. Every loss is yours to accept. Okay, you are wholly and solely responsible for the success. Yeah, so all the success is yours to celebrate. Pat yourself on the back. And that means when things go wrong, it's up to us to say, everything in my business is my fault. Yeah. Grit your teeth, work hard, and work smart. In the Strategic Bookkeeper, I give my bookkeepers an entire system, a blueprint, as they call it. They tell me, you give us a blueprint, Jeannie, for success. Yeah. Don't make excuses. Go out and find people like me who can support you. In the strategicbookkeeper.global, that's what we do. In betterinbusiness.global for entrepreneurs, we do that too. Yeah. Stop complaining. Go out and get help. So grit your teeth, keep pushing through, work hard until a point that you can work smart. Okay, until you can learn to scale your business, just like I have done. Okay, these days I work smarter rather than harder. Yeah, working smarter rather than harder means doing less or the same work for more impact, and more impact is more profitability and financial reward and time reward for yourself, and more impact on those you serve. Okay, so more impact. So that is working smarter, not harder. That is working the same or less for a higher reward for you and those you serve. Okay, and that is exactly what I do today. And that is why everybody seems to be saying, how the hell do you get so much done? Okay, mechanics, mindset, productivity. I really do hope that this podcast helps you take a breath and remind yourself never again to complain in your own mind that you're not in France because you've chosen to be in Italy. You've chosen the entrepreneur's journey. I want you to embrace the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah, because I want you to think this is where I wanted to be, so that I am the master of my own destiny. So I am the king of my castle. Yeah, so I get to do whatever I want to do day to day. Now, that also means that sometimes I just have to work hard and make hard decisions. I always say to my entrepreneurial clients, I won't necessarily ask you to work harder because most of them are working really hard already. I say to them, I am 100% going to ask you to make harder decisions. And I know they're hard. I had to make a really hard one the other day, and I had to take my friend hat off and put my business hat on. These days, I'm black and white and linear. I play by the rules of the game, and I play to win, yeah, which is something I've really embraced. Business is very black and white. There's often, especially when it comes to the administration of your business, which is leading, managing, delivery, standard operating procedures, administration, standard operating procedures, there is generally one way to do things in the back end. And so I have embraced just doing it the right way and never making excuses. And I suggest you do too. When it comes to the sales and marketing, more of a Picasso, okay? But that's definitely something that's helped me, okay? So I really do hope that this podcast has clarified for you why you might feel those highs and lows, yeah? Feeling like I don't have certainty, there's so much risk. Yeah, there is. Guess what? It's not going away. You can minimize risk, you can increase certainty, but you've chosen the entrepreneur's journey, yeah? And it is a wonderful journey that I will remain on for the rest of my life, my friends, yeah, until I leave this physical plane. I will be remaining on the entrepreneur's journey because I think it is the most wonderful journey to embrace, to grit our teeth, to put in the hard work, to reap the rewards of the incredible business, the empires that we build, and to celebrate the impact that we have on people globally and their families, okay? I know entrepreneurs don't always think about the impact that they have on those they serve and the people that they are surrounded by, okay? So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got lots out of it. Thanks for tuning in. For more information on this episode or how to work with me, check out the show notes. If you'd like to know how I can help you do better in business, you know where to find me, betterinbusiness.global. See you in the next episode.